If you thought you knew Cappadocia, think again. What if I told you the iconic fairy chimneys that draw millions every year are just the tip of a magnificent iceberg, masking an immense, hidden civilization beneath? For centuries, we've walked above an ancient mystery here in central Anatolia, unaware of the true scale of human ingenuity hidden below. This place, with its unique landscapes and hot air balloons, has always been a marvel. But the real story isn't in the sky, it's in the rock beneath our feet. We've known about places like Derinkuyu and Kaimakli, these incredible deep-cut underground cities, but they were always viewed as isolated shelters, temporary refuges from invaders. They were seen as anomalies. Now, prepare to have that entire perspective shattered. For those who haven't been, Cappadocia is a geological wonder. The soft volcanic rock known as tufa allowed ancient people to literally sculpt their world. They carved homes, churches, and storage rooms directly into the rock face. It's a testament to adaptability. But until recently, every archaeologist assumed we had discovered the major underground sites. We thought we had mapped the limits of what was possible for ancient carving and subterranean life. What we failed to grasp was that those known cities, as vast and complex as they are, were only the beginning. They were, perhaps, just minor outposts. We were walking on the roof of a true metropolis. The discovery wasn't made by a team of Indiana Jones-style adventurers. It was made by technology. Recently, local authorities commissioned advanced geological surveys, things like ground-penetrating radar and sophisticated seismic mapping, not to look for cities, but to assess the stability of the ground for modern construction. The goal was engineering. The result was history. When the initial data came back, the geologists were in awe, and then sheer disbelief. The instruments were registering a colossal network, a density of man-made structures that stretched far beyond any previously known boundaries. It wasn't just another tunnel or another room. The data revealed an astonishing network of subterranean cities, so vast, so interconnected, that they redefine what's possible for human dwelling. They had, quite literally, stumbled upon a massive, hidden civilization that had remained silent and secret for thousands of years, rewriting history as we know it. In part 1, we hinted at the sheer size of this discovery. Now let's go deep, literally and figuratively. When the GPR data was processed, the researchers didn't just see a large hole. They saw a colossal, engineered network that shatters every previous record for subterranean dwelling. We are talking about something that is not just bigger than Derinkuyu, the most famous underground city, but potentially multiple times larger in overall floor space and volume. Initial estimates are staggering. If the network proves to be fully interconnected, it could house upwards of 100,000 individuals. Think about that figure, an entire ancient city carved into the rock, self-sustaining and hidden. It's the difference between finding a small fortress and finding an entire underground capital. This is not a temporary shelter. This is a fully realized, vast metropolis. More than just the depth, the lateral expanse is key. Mapping suggests this civilization sprawls across several square kilometers, possibly connecting surface settlements that were previously thought to be separate. Imagine a hidden subterranean highway system, an infrastructural web linking multiple communities, all constructed by hand. The scale alone forces us to completely rethink the societal organization and level of power present in ancient Anatolia. The true measure of this discovery isn't just its size, it's its sophistication. When you examine the known, smaller cities, they are impressive. But the newly mapped areas reveal a quantum leap in architectural planning. This is not simply a random collection of rooms, this is precision engineering. We've identified what appear to be highly specialized sectors, massive centralized granaries and food storage vaults, positioned perfectly to maintain constant low temperatures, ensuring long-term survival. There are huge communal halls, suggesting sophisticated governance or religious practices. This implies a hierarchical society capable of coordinating massive long-term labor. Crucially, the engineering marvel of the air circulation system is utterly baffling. The GPR reveals a pattern of ventilation shafts descending hundreds of feet, not straight down, but deliberately spaced and angled to create a perfect, cool, and continuous flow of air throughout the entire complex. This demonstrates a profound yet seemingly lost ancient understanding of pneumatics and thermal management. They engineered their own climate thousands of years ago. Now reflect on the most awe-inspiring detail, the sheer human effort. All these kilometers of tunnels, all these immense halls, were carved using nothing more than simple ancient tools, picks and hammers made of stone and maybe iron. Think of the collective will. This wasn't a project completed in a few years. This was likely an effort that spanned generations and centuries. Calculate the sheer volume of rock, the tufa, that was meticulously removed from the earth. If you were to pile all that stone up, you would have a man-made mountain. And then imagine the logistics of hauling that excavated rock, often from hundreds of feet below ground, without modern machinery. This demanded an unparalleled level of social organization, commitment, and sustained labor. The structural stability is another marvel. The builders understood load-bearing architecture perfectly. They created beautifully arched ceilings and perfectly spaced pillars that have held the earth above them for millennia. It proves that the civilizations who built this possessed a level of construction skill that truly rivals and perhaps exceeds what was being built above ground during the same period. This was a dedicated, organized, and technologically advanced society working in secret. So what does this colossal scale truly mean? It forces us to change the story we tell about ancient Anatolia. This wasn't just a place people fled to when under attack. The scale and permanence suggests this was a place people lived in, a dedicated, hidden capital that served as the backbone of a sophisticated civilization. When we look at the immense scale, we must consider the possibility that these are not multiple separate cities, but one single, massive underground metropolis. A truly connected world beneath the world. This is not just a major discovery, it is a monumental historical correction. The new subterranean cities of Cappadocia are redefining the limits of ancient human endeavor. They show us that the greatest secrets of the past aren't always found in towering ruins, but often lie hidden deep beneath our feet. And we have only just begun to scratch the surface of this unbelievable hidden world. The colossal scale of this newly discovered network forces us to confront a fundamental question. Why? Why would an ancient civilization dedicate centuries of unimaginable labor to carve an entire metropolis out of the solid earth? Was it merely a panic room, or was it something far more profound, a permanent way of life? Traditionally, the known underground cities were viewed primarily as temporary bolt holes, refuges from the relentless waves of invaders sweeping through Anatolia, whether it was the Persians, the Romans, or later the Arabs. The massive rolling stone doors, like the ones in Derinkuyu, certainly scream defense. They suggest a brief, desperate hiding from immediate danger. However, the new discoveries challenge this idea entirely. The permanence implied by the sheer size, the complexity of the specialized quarters, and the sheer volume of space suggests that thousands of people spent extended, perhaps even multi-generational periods down here. This wasn't just survival. This was a society. Could it be that the intense, stable climate, underground, cool in the summer, warm in the winter, made it a more appealing long-term habitat than the exposed surface? The purpose may have been multifaceted. A refuge of last resort, yes, but also a dedicated center for culture, industry, and perhaps even a secret religious or spiritual life, hidden from the shifting political turmoil above ground. To sustain life for 100,000 people, the builders needed more than just rooms. They needed a self-regulating ecosystem. And this is where the genius of ancient engineering shines brightest. We are talking about two critical elements, air and water. First, the air circulation. The tufa rock is relatively porous, which helps, but the engineers went far beyond relying on natural processes. The GPR data reveals a meticulously planned array of ventilation shafts, some descending over 100 meters. These shafts weren't dug randomly. They were strategically spaced and connected, often with narrow, almost hidden side tunnels leading into the main chambers. This system created a natural, passive air exchange. The warmer, stale air was drawn up and out, while the cooler, fresh air was naturally pulled down from the surface. This continuous flow was essential, not just for breathing, but for managing the smoke from oil lamps and cooking fires. It maintained a constant, comfortable temperature, likely around 13 to 15 degrees Celsius, a perfect, stable environment, regardless of the scorching heat or freezing snow above. Second, water management. The city needed a continuous supply. They tapped into the underground water table using deep wells. But more impressively, we see evidence of cisterns and channels carved into the rock floors, designed to collect and purify rainwater that might seep through the porous rock. They mastered the management of one of the world's most vital resources, all in darkness. A city needs to eat, and a population of this size requires industrial-scale provisioning. The newly mapped areas include enormous specialized chambers that appear to be communal kitchens, bakeries, and food processing centers. Imagine hundreds of people working together to grind grain, bake bread, and prepare meals for the entire community. Crucially, the agricultural output, the subterranean environment is unsuitable for growing food, so everything had to be stored. The newly discovered vast granaries and cold storage vaults are the key. They were carved deep into the cool rock, sealed tightly, and maintained at that constant, low temperature, the perfect natural refrigerator for grains, dried meats, and preserved goods. Beyond food, the city needed industry. We find large carved pits that were likely wine and oil presses. These were not for personal use. These were large-scale production facilities. This demonstrates that the inhabitants had organized the means to sustain a large-scale complex economy. They weren't just hiding, they were processing, producing, and preserving the foundations of their civilization. And finally, the spiritual life. The new network contains multiple multi-roomed spaces identified as churches or communal worship areas. These often feature elaborate rock carvings and frescoes, showing that the maintenance of culture, spirituality, and identity was just as important as the physical act of survival. So what was life like for a child born in this world? It was a life defined by darkness and community. Light was a precious commodity, likely provided by expensive oil lamps, meaning activity was probably highly focused and efficient. The day-to-day existence was highly communal, organized around the strict needs of survival, grinding grain, fetching water, maintaining the air shafts, and defense. This kind of existence demands incredible social discipline. You couldn't be individualistic. Every person had a role. Every action was directed towards the collective survival of the thousands around them. This level of cooperation is astonishing and speaks to a tightly knit, highly regulated society. It is a world of shadows, silence, and intense cooperation. The ingenious engineering, the ventilation, the water systems, the storage, allowed them to defy the limits of their environment. They didn't just survive in the earth, they conquered it. The vastness of this hidden world wasn't a challenge, it was a blank canvas for human ingenuity, sculpted in stone, and waiting now for us to truly understand the people who called this dark, silent metropolis home. In the previous parts, we established the sheer scale and engineering genius of the new subterranean network. But now we move from the stone to the story, to the profound implications this discovery has for our understanding of history. The most tantalizing question, the one that keeps archaeologists awake at night, is this: are these cities connected? We are talking about dozens of known underground settlements, big and small, scattered across the vast region of Cappadocia. For decades, we treated them as individual, self-contained units. But the new seismic surveys and GPR data suggest a far grander reality. The new evidence points heavily towards the idea that these are not separate cities, but components of a single, massive, interlinked civilization. Imagine a spiderweb made of stone, thousands of kilometers of undiscovered tunnels forming a colossal underground arterial system. If this theory proves correct, and the geological data strongly suggests it will, we are looking at the remnants of a single massive subterranean metropolis. This would be a truly hidden world capital, a sustained civilization that lived, governed, and traded beneath the surface for hundreds, maybe thousands of years. This instantly elevates Cappadocia from a marvel of rock carving to the site of one of the world's largest lost civilizations. The existence of a connected megacity forces a radical revision of the history of Anatolia. We often study the empires of this region, the Hittites, the Phrygians, the various Byzantine forces, by focusing on their above-ground fortresses and their pottery shards. But what if the true center of power, the real heart of the region's cultural and economic life, was happening underground? This underground infrastructure implies a powerful, organized society with extraordinary longevity. The construction timeline for a network this size would span multiple successor cultures. This means that successive empires, perhaps even rival groups on the surface, might have inherited, expanded, and maintained the same underlying subterranean city. It suggests a continuity of culture and power that we never suspected. It shifts our focus. We must now ask, who were the master planners? Were they a dedicated, secret priestly or noble class? And why was this colossal infrastructure kept so well hidden from the historical record? This wasn't just a place to run to, it was a place to rule from. The tunnels are a time capsule. The unique environmental conditions of the underground, cool, dry, and dark, offer extraordinary preservation potential. Think of the archaeological opportunities. When full-scale excavation finally begins in the newly discovered sections, the insights could be revolutionary. We are hoping to find organic materials that simply don't survive above ground. Ancient textiles, wooden tools, preserved food stores. Imagine finding a beautifully preserved scroll or even intact human remains. These finds could provide unparalleled genetic data, allowing us to trace the origins of the inhabitants and their connection to surface cultures. What did they eat? How did their language evolve in isolation? Did they develop unique subterranean cultural practices or art forms adapted to the darkness? Every piece of pottery, every carved tool found in this massive, sealed environment has the potential to unlock secrets about their daily lives, their beliefs, and their eventual fate. We're not just digging for rocks, we're digging for the forgotten identity of an entire civilization. The discovery in Cappadocia has a profound global implication. It makes us look at ancient history in a completely new light. If such a colossal, long-lasting civilization could remain hidden beneath a well-studied region like central Turkey, what else are we missing? It changes our understanding of human ingenuity. We tend to celebrate the vertical, the pyramids, the skyscrapers, but this reveals a civilization that mastered the horizontal and the subterranean. It proves that when faced with environmental or political pressure, ancient people were capable of mobilizing resources on a scale previously attributed only to surface empires. The connections in Cappadocia challenge archaeologists worldwide to deploy these new advanced scanning technologies beneath other historical sites, Mesoamerica, the Middle East, North Africa. What other subterranean secrets might be hiding under seemingly barren fields? Cappadocia is more than a discovery. It is a paradigm shift. It tells us that perhaps the greatest chapters of human history are still waiting to be read, silently carved into the rock beneath our feet. We've glimpsed the colossal scale of this lost civilization, but the truth is, most of this new network remains completely unexplored. Much of it is structurally unstable, buried, or simply too dangerous for human entry. So how do we continue to uncover its marvels without disturbing the millennia of silence? The future of this research lies in cutting-edge, non-invasive technology. Teams are now deploying tools that sound like they're from a science fiction movie. We're talking about sophisticated LiDAR scanning, laser imaging, detection, and ranging, which can map vast underground chambers with millimeter precision, even if they are filled with debris. This allows archaeologists to explore hundreds of rooms without ever having to physically enter them. Even more critically, autonomous robotic explorers are being developed. These small, specially designed robots can navigate narrow fissures and unstable passages equipped with high-resolution cameras and environmental sensors. They are our eyes and hands, reaching the deep, dangerous, and untouched areas. This approach ensures we uncover the secrets while meticulously preserving the delicate millennia-old environment. It's archaeology driven by both discovery and absolute preservation. With such an astounding discovery comes immense responsibility. The magnitude of this network presents enormous ethical challenges. We face a constant tension. How do we balance exploration and public knowledge with the absolute necessity of preservation? The underground environment is a perfect time capsule, precisely because it is static. No light, no moisture, no human contact. Introducing any of these elements risks immediate and irreparable damage to artifacts, frescoes, and even the structural integrity of the soft tufa rock. Archaeological teams are working tirelessly with conservationists to develop strict protocols. This means specialized airlocks, carefully regulated visitor numbers in selected areas, and employing only low-impact lighting. The goal is not to turn this into a mass tourism spectacle overnight. Instead, it's a careful, decade-long balancing act. To stabilize, to study, and then cautiously share only the smallest fraction, while dedicating the majority of this invaluable heritage to long-term preservation for future generations and even better technologies. The secrets of Cappadocia extend far beyond Turkey. This monumental discovery is a paradigm shift for global archaeology. It forces us to acknowledge that our understanding of ancient human capabilities has been profoundly incomplete. It proves that complex, large-scale, and long-lasting civilizations can be built and maintained entirely underground. This challenges archaeologists worldwide to look beneath other ancient sites in the Middle East, South America, and beyond. What other massive, hidden worlds might be lurking under seemingly familiar landscapes? Cappadocia is more than a discovery. It's an invitation to rethink history. The journey into Cappadocia's secrets has just begun. It will require generations of dedicated effort and resources. If this hidden world has captivated your imagination, your support, through raising awareness, ethical tourism, and encouraging funding for research, is crucial. We must ensure this incredible, hidden metropolis is protected for thousands of years to come. The greatest chapters of human history are still waiting to be read, silently carved into the rock beneath our feet. We started this journey with a challenge: to forget everything we thought we knew about ancient civilizations. And what we found beneath the iconic fairy chimneys of Cappadocia wasn't just another archaeological site, it was a revelation. New geological breakthroughs have indeed unveiled an astonishing network of subterranean cities so vast, they redefine what's possible for human dwelling. We've looked at the Mammoth scale, a hidden metropolis that could house 100,000 souls, dwarfing every known underground structure. We've explored the Ingenuity, a civilization that mastered passive climate control, engineered complex air systems, and created vast granaries to sustain a population for generations. And most importantly, we've considered the hypothesis that these are not separate towns but a single, massive, interconnected city, a hidden capital that endured the rise and fall of surface empires, maintaining its culture and continuity in the silent, stable darkness. It is a monumental historical correction, proving that the most advanced chapters of human history are not always written in towering structures, but often carved in stone, deep beneath our feet. But here is the final, compelling truth. We have only just scratched the surface. The vast majority of this network remains sealed, untouched, and holding secrets that could revolutionize our understanding of human migration, social organization, and ancient technology. The exploration will be slow, painstaking, and highly technical, relying on LiDAR, autonomous robots, and the dedication of brilliant conservationists. It is a race against time, not just to discover, but to protect this fragile, millennia-old time capsule from the threats of moisture, light, and premature exposure. The story of the subterranean people of Cappadocia is the ultimate testament to human resilience, ingenuity, and the endless secrets the Earth still holds. It forces us to acknowledge that the world we walk on is layered with hidden histories we are only beginning to comprehend. If this hidden world has captivated your imagination, we urge you to be part of its future. Share this story, raise awareness about the need for careful conservation, and support the research efforts dedicated to mapping and preserving these incredible sites. The greatest adventures of human history are often collaborative. By engaging with this discovery, you help ensure that the silent voices of this colossal, lost civilization are finally heard, and that their breathtaking legacy is protected for all of humanity for thousands of years to come. Thank you for descending with us into the unseen world.